guys, what's up? We're here with Sean from Egg Farms again for another week, talking about heat stress. So we are literally situated right outside our duck pond, so there might be a bit of quacking. We're going to feed them up on potatoes, hopefully get them a little bit drunk and get them ripe and ready for duck shooting, which we actually, I don't think we've shot a duck on that pond ever, but we have been known to have a couple of beers. Well, we've got our cows in behind us, beautiful hot day down here. We're going to be carrying on from last week's Kōrero, where we talked about heat stress on cows and how it affects the grass. But this week I'm excited to talk about some of the physical attributes to the, well, physical, wouldn't be physical attributes, physical...
Well, effects, I guess.
Yep. Some of the physical effects that heat stress has on cows, i.e. milk fat percentages, milk production, all that sort of stuff. So I'm keen to dive deep into some of these things that, because we get paid from our milk. So is heat stress affecting our milk production?
Yep. Yeah, well, short answer is yes. Yep.
Damn. Unfortunately, we're at the closest. We're in the closest part of New Zealand to the South Pole.
Yeah, that's right. Which is probably good in terms of heat stress, I guess. It's a bit cooler.
Yeah, it is.
But, direct impact on milk production. It's via a couple of pathways though, and that's the tricky thing with heat stress. So it's one of the first signs of heat stress is cows will drop in appetite, basically. So you'll see the cows, we'll put them in a morning break and they might start eating pretty well, and then you go in there and they haven't really cleaned up. They're kind of just standing there. They might be drooling a bit, they're panting. Sometimes they group together because they're looking for shade. So, and if they're not eating, well, they're not getting energy, essentially. So that's what knocks your milk production. And the second effect is basically what's happening in the grass. So we talked earlier video about toxins. So the effect of those toxins is it messes with their metabolic system, which then messes with appetite and their milk production as well. So it's basically kind of hitting them at two angles, unfortunately.
That's crazy. So if you didn't catch last week's video, guys, we talked in depth actually around toxins and how obviously heat stress and the heat affects the toxin levels toxicity in the grass. Can we just dive a bit deeper into metabolics around heat stress? How does heat stress affect the metabolics in a cow? Yeah,
so it's tricky. When you say metabolics, you think down a cow.
Yeah, well, it's instantly what I'm thinking. I'm pretty sure everyone else is as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is when you said it, that's what I thought too. I'm like, I hope I used the right word.
He was the one who wrote it on the list.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you definitely blame me.
Yeah.
Basically there's when the cow she's producing or breaking down feed, she's creating heat, she's getting the energy out of the food, all that sort of thing. That is a metabolic process, essentially. Right. So metabolics, in terms of a downer cow, is when that process stops working properly and then the cow goes down, essentially. That's a very, very basic way of saying a complex thing, but so it is still a metabolic function, but it is quite different. So basically, if let's say you're a marathon runner, and you go run.
I mean,
Okay,
definitely not a prop.
So you're a marathon runner, so you know what I'm saying. But I'll rephrase the question. So you had to run 10Ks in Southern, and then you whipped up to Hamilton and ran the same 10Ks. Where there's a 5 or a 10 degree difference, your metabolic rate's going to be quite different, right? Because you're in a lot hotter environment. It's a lot muggier, or it's more humid. So your metabolic rate increases. So the amount of energy you need to run that 10Ks in Hamilton is going to be a lot higher than down here. And so it's exactly the same with the cows. When the temperature goes up, the humidity goes up, their metabolic rate goes up. And so they need more energy, they need more feed, and unfortunately, at the same time, the appetite drops. So
huge imbalance there.
Exactly, and that's why you see a crash in milk production. And that's also why you see a drop in milk production, and then the next day it might be cooler, they go to a slightly different paddock, and then you see a jump, and they drop down, so it's all over the show. And that is the best telltale sign to say that you've got issues with heat stress rather than grass quality, because a lot of people see a drop in milk production in the summer and they say, oh, well, my grass has gone to crap, it's bad quality, there's not much I can do about it. But it's actually, it's likely heat stress. And
that's crazy. So last year we had a few meetings with our consultants just talking about our milk graph fluctuation. in the summer, and it was literally, it probably started in December, went through to maybe mid-Feb,
Yep.
and we were bouncing around 500-600 litres in a day. It'll either go up or down, and we were like, oh, it's feeding consistency, and we're like, me and Goody were sort of like, shit, we haven't changed anything. It's exactly the same the whole time.
Sure.
So it could have been heat stress, you reckon?
Yeah, and it's tricky because it looks like feeding inconsistency.
Yeah.
Because they're also not eating consistently.
Yeah, that's right.
And so you're like, oh, I didn't do my brakes right, and
or quality. We were like, oh, it's the quality.
Yep. Yeah, so you go step out or step your squares out again, you do your plating or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's actually appetite.
Right.
And that's why it looks like you've done your feed allocation wrong, but you actually haven't. Well, most likely you haven't.
Yeah.
And it's just around appetite. So one of the key things, and we'll talk more about this later on, is to make sure you give them the best feed and the most feed at night, because that's when the appetite is highest.
They eat.
Yep. And if you have to cut them back a little bit, cut them back in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but we'll get into a bit more detail in other videos.
Cool. So just going back to the physical attributes that heat stress has on a cow.
Yep.
Like my cows are just standing there right now. So the cows right there, guys, you can see them. They're all just standing there milling around.
Yeah.
Some of them are the ones at the front are all drooling, flicking their tails, sort of mobbing together. Normally we don't get this here.
No.
Like there's no shit build up, as you can see. Meaning that there's no cows normally congregating here. This is one of the hotter days that we've had. Although the wind's starting to pick up a bit now to cool things down, but is that from heat stress?
Yep.
Like cows just congregating together?
Yeah, like mid-October, would you ever see straight after milking the cow standing there?
Not no other. I've never seen this.
No, and that just tells me the appetite's not there. Like they're not that interested in going to the next break. They're just standing there, and they do congregate because they shade each other.
Right.
I know it seems crazy, but you think, oh, you clump together, you'll get hotter.
Yeah.
But no, they cast a shadow on each other, and that's almost like the ducks with the flying V. They take turns to take the sun, if you know what I mean. And and that's the way they do it. But if you see that sort of behaviour, that's certainly a sign that they could be affected by heat stress.
And so we talked earlier about milk production volume-wise.
Mm-hmm.
What about the composition of the milk?
Yeah, sure.
Like,
Great question.
Milk, like fat and protein, does that bounce around as well?
Yeah, it'll bounce around more than what volume will.
Oh, right.
So milk fat percentage is always the indicator of cow metabolic health and how she's doing. So we watch fat percentage all the time. Fat percentage goes down. Acidosis, or we got other upsets in the rumen.
Yep.
Exactly the same with heat stress. If you see a sharp or a drop in milk fat percentage, but your protein's staying pretty consistent, but your litres are going down, then that will tell you, that's likely an issue of heat stress.
Right.
It's tricky this time of year because we're a bit shorter on grass. The sun guys are piling a bit more feed, and it might be grains and concentrates. You do have to watch out for acidosis still as well. But certainly a drop in milk fat percentage is a great indicator of if they are under heat stress.
Right, that's awesome.
Or being affected by it, yeah.
Well, it's good to know that, because too often we're out there, at sort of the cliff face in the middle of summer, just like far out, it's so hot, and we're wondering, like my whole life I've wondered why our cows have been fluctuating so much in summer. Good to know that sort of information. So again, guys, another week of awesome content around heat stress at the right time of year. You're all out there in the middle of summer wondering what the hell's going on with my cows because they're bouncing around a bit or might be losing a bit of weight. Look, we've got another 2 more episodes talking about heat stroke over the next 2 weeks. So no doubt we'll be catching up with Sean and hammering home a couple more awesome topics. But for now, any questions, chuck them in the comments box below. Either myself or Sean will jump on there and occupy the answer to them. No question is a dumb question. There's probably 10, 20 other people that are thinking the same thing. So feel free to just chuck them in there. Or furthermore, you can jump on over to Ag Advance's site, which will be in the link above, where you guys can jump over and check them out. And you might want to talk to Sean directly or give him a call. So thanks for watching. Thanks for coming down again, mate.
You're most welcome.
Look forward to hosting you next week.
Sounds good.
Hopefully away from the duck pond.
Yeah.
Cheers, team.